Hello again everyone, Dr. Dan Bachman here. And it's been a long time since the last update, it feels like to me. And some interesting things have happened. So I'm going to see if I can catch you guys up to speed here. So today is December 10th. And about 2 weeks ago, I had a CT scan. Well, they did a lung biopsy about a month ago, found out that the spot we were seeing in my lung was actually cancerous. However, did a CT scan actually that was probably 2 months ago. 2 months ago, did a CT scan and saw the spot. We said let's do a PET scan. PET scan can tell if a tumor is active. It can't tell if it's a tumor, but it'll give you active hotspots where whatever the mass is sucking up sugar, which is what tumors love to eat. They eat sugar at a rate like 10 to 50 times higher than other cells in your body. So therefore, any spots in your body that light up on this PET scan are suspicious as being perhaps tumor or cancerous. So the PET scan found a suspicious spot on my lung. We'd seen it before on CT, but we couldn't tell, is it old scar tissue? We don't know. PET scan said, it probably is, which led to the lung biopsy. So they stuck a needle in through my back, guided it with a CT scan. I was sort of awake for it, and took a sample of it. Sure enough, it came from my colorectal tumor. They can tell by the DNA of it, apparently. So we know the spot in my lung is cancerous. And they also found a new spot in my liver. I think I mentioned that last time, and a new spot altogether around my tailbone. So we got three spots that we're not happy about. Since the last meeting with my oncologist, right after we found this information out, she said, we really don't have any other options for you. We used all the powerful chemo right out of the gate with you a couple years ago when we found this. And we can't keep using chemo because it gets less effective, and basically you can develop chemo-resistant tumor cells, kind of like with antibiotics. So if you take antibiotics too much, it may kill 95% of them, but the 5% are left will regrow. And then you've got a bunch of bacteria, or in this case tumor cells, that are resistant to chemo. And the side effects get worse of chemo as well. Same thing with radiation, there's a limit on the dose. So basically I don't have as many tools as I had before. So basically I opted, my oncologist, I love her. She's been completely forthright with me and told me, hey, I don't have strong recommendations for you. She would default to doing chemotherapy, maybe a slightly different cocktail, and just see. We also have experimental study options that so far I've not qualified for. The third option is just kind of going med-free, going medical treatment free, and really focusing on my health, which is the option I'm choosing. So, but it's not just like I've locked into this and I'm never gonna change or change my mind. Basically, we're calling it watchful waiting. So I'm going to get periodic scans, maybe every 2 months or so, just to track things. We're also doing 2 kinds of blood work that track tumor growth. CEA, which is a tumor marker, is one we'll be tracking. And it's kind of almost a lagging indicator, meaning if a tumor is growing bigger and bigger, it takes a while to show up on CEA. As opposed to this brand new blood work, which is DNA. It tracks the DNA of the tumor itself. They mapped out the DNA of the tumor, I guess from maybe a biopsy. So they know if they can see little bits of that DNA, and they can see if the amounts of it circulating in my blood are rising or lowering. So this is called Signatera, is what it's called, Signatera. And that is a much more, almost a leading indicator. In other words, it's much more sensitive, so it'll pick up small increases in tumor growth or shrinking of tumor. It'll pick that stuff up too. And it'll give us more of a real-time report on what's actually going on inside me. So, for example, a CT scan will see a lump, but it can't tell what it is. And in order for a mass to get big enough to see on a CT, it has to be billions of cancer cells, billions. So a lot of growth has happened already by the time we even pick it up on a CT scan or an MRI or whatever. So the Signatera is going to be a great tool too, that we're going to use all three to kind of track me and make sure that we're trending the direction we want, or see if we can trend the direction that I want. So what have I done? A lot. So essentially I've gone vegan just because, and my mom's helping me a ton with this research. So she's done actually way more research than I have. I'll confess, I hate researching cancer. It just feels like an endless rabbit hole that with branches off in every direction. Yet there's tons of research. A lot of it conflicts with each other. Then you have to go analyze the research and see which is the stronger study. It's kind of maddening. Mom has done very good with that and has been a tremendous help for me in this and many other ways. But essentially, most of the research is pointing to, hey, mostly plant-based diet seems like it's the best. Here's the idea, by the way. So I'll pause this. So with the chemo and radiation and surgeries and all that, I did fantastic while I was on those regimens. But as soon as I got off those things, the tumors came roaring back. I say roaring back, I mean, it took, over a year, but still, I mean, I just recovered, started to recover from my last surgery, and we did another scan, and oh my gosh, there's 3 new ones. So that's disheartening. And the way I like to think of chemo and radiation in particular is they're an army that's going to, they're an army that surrounds you as you go into battle. So you don't have to fight by yourself. In fact, you're not really fighting much at all because those 2 therapies reduce your immune function. So they hit your bone marrow, and in addition to other things that aren't necessarily pleasant, they reduce your immune function. In other words, they reduce your body's ability to fight the thing off by itself. So it's kind of like I had armor on. Then once I can opt to get this army around me to go into battle against cancer, but in exchange for that army, I have to take all my armor off. So I'm kind of unprotected and vulnerable when I'm using chemo and radiation. And the chemo and radiation did all the heavy lifting. They did great work. But as soon as I got off them, this stuff came back. So we're going to try the other method, which is I'm going to send the army home, and I'm going to reload up my armor, and I'm going to even put some extra layers of Kevlar and so on me as I go into battle. That's my goal by focusing on just the simple things: diet, exercise, sleep, hydration, mental health, reducing stress. And just to give you an idea about that, I was omnivore, but mostly vegetarian before all this. I've gone pretty much completely vegan at this point, just because, and we're doing pretty much all organic produce. So I have to eat a lot of food to get enough nutrients, because plant-based sources don't have as much calories and protein and stuff as animal sources like meat and dairy and poultry and fish do. So I'm eating a lot. My appetite's great. I'm putting on some weight. I think I'm probably 170 something at this point, up from 130 something, I think, when I was in the hospital. So I've gained back 40 pounds, 40 plus. I'm feeling slowly better, more energy, slowly getting more active as time goes by. So I'm doing a really pretty strict diet, no seed oils, and then I'm adding in supplements that are known to be cancer fighters or immune boosters, which you could think of as a cancer fighter. If it boosts your immune system and your immune system can fight off the bad stuff, then it's kind of a cancer fighter. So I'm taking like black seed oil and turkey tail mushroom and matcha tea extract and a bunch of minerals, zinc and magnesium and turmeric, which is a liver detoxifier, and I mean the list kind of goes on and on. I take a lot, just take them in the morning mostly. So diet, supplements. I'm trying to walk more. Walking is still really tough, just because if I get too far away from home and then have to have a bathroom trip, which are still a deal, still 20 to 30 bathroom trips a day, which is exhausting. But as you might expect, if you walk too far and then you need a bathroom and don't have one, it's not good. So I just kind of go back and forth in my apartment parking lot and get some mileage in that way, and slowly increasing it. I'm in the gym twice a week on average, sometimes 3. And I go up in weight that I lift every single time I go to the gym. So I'm now bench pressing and squatting more than my body weight, which is normally not a big deal, but for me it is, because it's been a long time since I was lifting regularly and playing volleyball and all those things I like to do and can't do yet. So exercise, I'm allowing myself 10 to 11 hours in bed at night to sleep. Of that, because I have to get up frequently, I may sleep 7 to 8 hours. So that's why I just allow myself more time, because if I was in bed for 8 hours, I might sleep, I don't know, 5 of that, something like that, 4.5. So I just allow more time in bed. I go to bed at 7 p.m. and I wake up at around 5 a.m., something like that. And so sleep, I'm also little things like instead of using an electric heating pad, because I use a heating pad under me, or I have at night, it helps alleviate some of the pain or aching that I get that goes along with all this. Switch from that and to get away from the electromagnetic field. Who knows if that makes a difference, but I'm now using hot water bottles instead. Hey, they feel great. I don't wear sunglasses when I'm outside, just to make sure I get as much natural light in hitting the back of my eyeballs and my retinas as I can, to help keep my circadian rhythms even, because the gut bacteria that live in there, called the microbiome, are really crucial in lots of things. We're just now starting to learn about how important the microbiome is, meaning the colonies of different kinds of bacteria that are good for you that live in your gut and help you fight off infection or disease or viruses and so on. So I want to give those guys as best a fighting chance as I can. Who knows how important, how beneficial all of these things are, if any, but I'm basically just looking at everything that I can find that might be helpful, and I'm going to do it all, because this is my window. I've got a window of time. I don't have forever to try this out, right? Because my prognosis is not great. So I figured I'm just going to go all in my perhaps initial one shot here. I don't know. Because I want to move the needle. And if it starts looking like, oh, I get like 2 or 3 scans in a row where it's not growing or even shrinking, I may get a little more comfortable. And who knows? But from all the stories I've read, and I've read a lot about folks who've gotten over cancer, they pretty much make a permanent lifestyle change for the rest of their lives. And it doesn't mean maybe they're exactly as strict with diet and all this stuff for life as they were in the beginning, but they maintain really high qualities, really high standards for their personal health, which is worth it. I would rather be, I mean, I like hamburgers, but I would be vegan if it means I get to live. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. I don't eat any processed sugar, no seed oils, raw or lightly cooked and juicing stuff. I mean, the list just kind of goes on. I even went to an energy healer, by the way, y'all. So this is not me, but I said, you know what? I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm going to go to this energy healer, because a lot of so this book I'm reading that I mentioned, it's called Radical Remissions. And I forget the name of the author, but Radical Remissions is the name of it. I listened to it as an audiobook on Scribd, S-C-R-I-B-D, which is kind of like a Netflix for books. You can either read them on a Kindle or something, or you can listen to the audiobooks, is what I do. So anytime I'm out walking or I'm at the gym, I've got that in my ear listening. And I listen to the book the whole time, once, and I've started it again. I'm listening to it again about halfway through. It has lots of case studies that are just fascinating to me. It's really something really cool about hearing about other people going through the same thing that I'm going through. It makes you feel not as, all alone with this thing. So I highly recommend it. If you yourself, I hope you're not going through cancer, or if you are, or if you have a friend or family member who is, I can highly recommend this book. And it's free if you subscribe to Scribd, which is I think like $7 or $8 a month. And you can listen to as many books as you want. So I listen to novels on there a lot. But right now I'm listening to this one. Hearing these stories and how they approach it, everyone approached it slightly different, but here's the idea behind the book. They found this group of hundreds of folks who survived cancer against the odds, meaning their doctors had written them off essentially and said, oh, you know, you can go spend your last month or 2 or 3 at home with your family, get your affairs in order. Maybe most of these people had gone through at least some medical treatment, some of them extensive, some of them multiple surgeries like me, like multiple rounds of chemo and radiation, sometimes over years. And it kept coming back, and then they said, you know what, we're gonna try the healthy living route, which is what I'm trying. So hearing other people do this successfully is just really empowering to me. So I can recommend that to, and do recommend it to, unfortunately I've had a couple of friends who just found out they had cancer as well. So anyway, so following those precepts in that book, here's where we are. I just met with my oncologist yesterday, and my CEA, which is a tumor marker, had bumped up just a little, but it was really before I started all this dietary stuff in earnest. My Signatera had gone up just a little as well. We're going to schedule another CT scan 2 months out, in every 2 months. And I'm keeping an open mind. So if at some point it looks like, oh, we've gone 2 or 3 scans and every time it's getting bigger and bigger, it appears the stuff that I'm doing is not working, then I'll reconsider and maybe we'll try an experimental study, or maybe we'll try this round of chemo she's talking about, or some other approach, who knows. But for now, I'm all in on the be a healthy dude and see if your body can turn those tumor cells into normal healthy cells. Because really that's all cancer is. It's normal healthy cells that stopped working right. So they're part of me. They're part of me, and I would like them back doing their job right. I don't hate them at all. I love them. They are part of me. But I want them to be healthy. So I'm going to do my best to help them do that. Anyway, I hope I didn't ramble on too long today. Thank you again so much for all of you for your comments and following your encouragements. It means so much. I can never ever explain exactly how much it means knowing I have all of you behind me. And I want those of you who are going through this as well, know I'm on your side. Know I'm on your side. We're in this together. We can do this. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, Christmas, New Year, whatever you celebrate, wherever you are. And until next time, I'll see you guys.